going on, guys? It's Nick from Surfcasting the Island, and today I'm going to be talking about the care package I got courtesy of shout out to Joe Leggio and shout out to Todd and Mike for making it happen over at Fat Cow Fishing. I've been busy the past couple days. I got this a couple days ago. If you guys have been up to date on my Instagram, follow at Surfcasting the Island with work and stuff. Finally, I got around to making the video, but I'm going to go over what's inside in terms of what Fat Cow sent me. So they gave me a cool snapback. Love the detail. It's gray, cool gray over black. Personally, I love snapbacks. The fitteds, sometimes you grow out of them and whatnot. But yeah, really cool, stylish hat. Gonna be wearing it a lot. I'll wear it in this video for you guys. But in terms of using Fat Cow strips, I love them. There's a couple other companies I've used in the past I'll talk about as well. But without further ado, some other stuff they sent me was a pretty cool Fat Cow jar holder. This will go, it's not part of this video, but it'll go on your belt, undo the Velcro, put the Fat Cow strips in here, in the jar. And that brings me to the last two things they sent me were the 5.5-inch eel tails. I love the eel tails. I know Captain Joey Leggio uses them a lot on his boat as well. Yeah, so in green and white. They're great baits. Yeah, they just, fit right into these jar holders like this. Again, something like this would go on my my gear up belt if you guys seen any of my previous videos. The one I did with Joe Leggio, for example. Okay, so before I go into detail about the baits on the table, whether that being the Fat Cow jig strips or the otter tail strips, I'll give you a lowdown of what I used in the beginning of my surf casting journey up until this current point. So when I was first introduced to the surf casting outlet, I want to say 5 years ago, I started using Uncle Josh's pork rind. That's what my buddy Sammy, a good surf casting buddy, introduced to me. Regardless of the fact that he's younger, a lot of old timers use the Uncle Josh's pork rind. They're the very first reliable bucktail trailer on the market. The only downside to the Uncle Josh's pork rind is that if you didn't take them off the hook at the end of a trip, they would dry up and turn into cement, deeming them unusable. So with that being said, at the end of every trip, you'd have to put the jig trailer back in the jar and then back out of the jar when you're going to make another cast on your next trip. So Otter Tail and Fat Cow, they eliminated that problem because now you could keep the jig trailers on the bucktails. They are relatively durable compared to that of Uncle Josh. They're all three of these baits serve their own purpose. They're all great. Despite the fact that unfortunately Uncle Josh's pork rind is out of business now. But yeah, they're great. I'll open up, this is 5 1/8 inch and 3/4 width otter tail. As you can see here, it's a pretty fat body. This is something I'd use with the bunker around. It's got a wide, big profile. And I will show you, this is the 5.5-inch eel tail. It doesn't have the width on the package, but you guys will get the idea. Okay. Very similar profiles. The only difference is one's got a curly tail, one doesn't. You could also get the Fat Cow fork tail and single strip tail, which are great as well. But without further ado, the biggest difference I see between the Fat Cow and Otter Tail strip is the width. If you take these side by side, the eel tail is probably, I want to say, about half the width of the otter tail. You can see that lining down. That's the difference in width. So starting with the otter tail, this is something that I would use, not a lot of moving water, back bays, up front on the open beach, not a lot of current, so on and so forth. If you're fishing between moons and whatnot, that'll also affect the current. This would work great. It'll keep you up off the bottom in those types of applications a little bit better. I'll go into pairing strips with bucktails in a different video, but that's not the purpose of this video. On the other hand, if I'm fishing heavy rips, maybe around the moon, inlets regardless, I'm going to go with an eel tail or a fork tail or any of those strips by Fat Cow, because naturally the width of them is thinner. And that'll allow you in the faster moving water to cut down and get in that strike zone right up off the bottom with the bucktail. Again, you know, both of these baits hold their purpose in different applications. Since I'm mainly a inlet fisherman and rough water guy, I steer towards the Fat Cow jig strips because that's just what caters to my needs and what I feel will get me in that type of situation. Otter tail, you know, made out of, you know, the same material pretty much, will get you through other situations like low-key combat bay areas. You know, you'll be able to do that with Fat Cows as well, but, you know, it'll keep you much off the bottom or a tad off the bottom if you use otter tails. Just a little bit more if you're fishing in between those moons, like I said, and whatnot. But again, it's just minor differences. At the end of the day, it's personal preference. I like both baits, but as a whole, I like to steer towards Fat Cow because that's my preference to where I'm going to be fishing, the conditions I'm going to be fishing, and whatnot. So, with that being said, I am not sponsored by Fat Cow. I'm not sponsored by Otter Tail. This is just me giving my personal experiences and what applications I would use each bait in per se. So without further ado, if you guys like this video, please like, comment, share it with as many people as you can, and subscribe. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram at SurfCastingTheIsland. Thank you. Have a good day, guys.